A little while ago, I bought an entire lot of old MacBooks, and while some of them were in much better conditions than the others, this certain late 2011 MacBook Pro definitely stood out for a completely different reason. And that's because it actually works. The screen is intact and the keyboard and trackpad both still do work. And cosmetically, it really isn't terrible for a laptop that's reaching 15 years old. But internally, it still is exactly the same as it would have been in 2011. And that isn't going to be great in 2026. It still has an old mechanical hard drive, a fairly limited amount of RAM, some ancient thermal paste, and a SuperDrive that definitely has seen better days. So while this laptop still technically does work, it's nowhere near as quick as it used to be 15 years ago. So rather than leaving it sitting around as just another old MacBook in my collection, I wanted to give it a proper restoration. Today we're going to completely clean it out, replace the thermal paste, upgrade the RAM and storage, and see just how usable this 15-year-old MacBook Pro can become. But before we can upgrade anything, we need to see exactly what 15 years has done to the insides of this thing, because I can assure you, it probably isn't going to be that clean. So, let's check it out. With the plan set, it was time to start taking this MacBook apart. Thankfully, this generation of MacBook Pro is from a time when Apple still made their laptops relatively easy to work on. Once the Phillips screws on the back are removed, nearly every major component is immediately accessible. And honestly, the inside wasn't in terrible condition. There was definitely some dust built up around the fans and vents, but for a laptop that has been around since 2011, I've seen much worse. Before touching anything else though, I disconnected the battery to make sure there was no power running through the board while I worked on this thing. The processor in this MacBook is called for a pretty basic heatsink and fan system, with thermal paste sitting between the chips and the metal cooling plate. Now that paste helps transfer heat away from the processor, but after nearly 15 years, well, the original application was almost certainly well past its best. And once the heatsink came off, that became pretty obvious. The original paste had dried out and hardened across the surface, which can lead to higher temperatures, louder fans, and reduced performance under heavier workloads. I carefully cleaned the old paste from both the processor and the heatsink using isopropyl alcohol, making sure there was no residue left behind before applying a fresh amount. And with the new thermal paste applied, I reinstalled the heatsink, tightening the screws gradually to keep the pressure even, before putting the fans back into place and assembling the whole thing back. Now it's not the most exciting upgrade in the world, and it certainly won't make the MacBook feel faster, but it should help the cooling system work much more efficiently, and also give the laptop a much better chance of surviving in the future. And with the maintenance taken care of, we could finally move on to the upgrades that will make a much more noticeable difference. The RAM and the storage. I'm so stupid. The storage and the RAM. This MacBook was still running from its original mechanical hard drive, which may have been perfectly acceptable back in 2011, but today it makes everything feel painfully slow. Booting into macOS, just things like opening applications and basic file transfers are all going to be held back by the drive having to physically spin and seek for data. Now thankfully replacing it is incredibly straightforward. Now an SSD won't magically make the processor any more powerful, but it removes one of the largest bottlenecks in an older computer. Startup time should be dramatically shorter, applications should open up much more faster, and the entire OS should just feel more responsive. Next was the memory. Now upgrading the RAM is even easier, with both modules just sitting directly above the battery. I released the retaining clips, removing the old sticks, and then replaced one of them with an extra 8GB DIMM, making sure each module was fully seated before pressing it down into a place for a total of 12GB of RAM. And just like that, the two components holding this MacBook back the most had been replaced. But before closing everything up, there was still one more piece of 2011 hardware that needed some attention. Now remember how I said that the SuperDrive in this thing was faulty? Now while optical drives aren't exactly essential in the big year of 2026, I still wanted everything on this MacBook to still be pretty much exactly functional as it would have been in 2011. And since this model makes the SuperDrive actually really easy to replace, I may as well just should have given it a shot. I mean, there's no reason to leave a broken one inside of this thing. What we're going to do is we're going to take the old SuperDrive out of this donor MacBook here, which basically all came from my MacBook lot video if you haven't watched that yet. And we're going to go ahead and transplant that SuperDrive into this MacBook. Right after ripping out the working optical drive from the donor MacBook Pro, I disconnected the cables and removed a few screws from the Wi-Fi card in our upgraded MacBook. And with that, the entire faulty SuperDrive could be lifted straight out the MacBook. The replacement dropped into the exact same position, and once the cables were all reconnected and everything was secured, the MacBook once again had a fully functional optical drive. So finally, the MacBook has all been put back together. As you may have noticed in the meantime as well, I did get my hair cut. Anyways, back to the MacBook. We've upgraded the RAM to this thing from 4GB to 12GB of RAM. We've also replaced the old mechanical hard drive to an SSD. And we also replaced the faulty SuperDrive on this thing. But here's the thing. None of this matters if it doesn't turn on. This is always the slightly nerve-wracking part when you upgrade a laptop of this age. From personal experience, I mean, just having one loose connector or a slightly improperly seated component can be enough to stop the MacBook from completely booting. So before we do anything else, let's plug this thing in. Let's press the power button and let's see whether the 15-year-old MacBook still works. Thankfully it booted up without any problems, and from here I entered macOS recovery so we could verify both the SSD and the upgraded memory. The SSD was the easiest one to check, and opening up disk utility showed the new drive immediately, which meant the MacBook could see it and the SATA connection was working properly. So at this point the MacBook was powering on and the SSD was recognized and was showing up exactly as it should, which meant we could format it as APFS. And then next we could finally install macOS High Sierra. And with that we were basically good to go. So the MacBook powers on, which means mechanically the restoration is basically complete, but visually this thing kinda looks awful. This aluminium chassis was covered in grime, the keyboard and display had years of fingerprints just built up, and worst of all, the people who sold this MacBook had covered the lid in these weird stickers. So before we properly test the MacBook, we need to desperately give this thing a quick little clean. I started with the worst part, which was removing the stickers from the lid. Some of them did actually peel away relatively easily, while others had clearly been attached to the lid for quite a bit of time, and some of those stickers left behind a thick layer of adhesive. To remove what was left behind, I applied a small amount of isopropyl alcohol to a microfiber cloth, and then just gradually worked it into the adhesive. This did take a bit of patience, but eventually the residue began lifting away without scratching the actual aluminium underneath. And already the MacBook was beginning to look significantly better, but there was some slight discoloration and warping, where the stickers had protected the aluminium from years of wear, but that was still a huge improvement over what we started with. Now, with the stickers gone, I continued cleaning the rest of the exterior, paying extra attention to the palm rest, trackpad, keyboard, and areas around the port where dirt had built up over time. The keyboard also needed quite a bit of attention. I used a lightly dampened Q-tip across the keys just to reach the smaller gaps around them, and I made sure to not let any liquid run beneath the keyboard, since the last thing we needed was to damage the laptop immediately after restoring it. I got most of the grime off the keyboard and it was already looking 1000 times better. Finally, I cleaned the display using another microfiber cloth with only a small amount of isopropyl alcohol applied to it. I never sprayed anything directly onto the screen, and after a few passes, most of the fingerprints and grime were completely gone. And after nearly 15 years of use, it was never going to look completely brand new. But compared to the dirty sticker covered MacBook we began with, this difference was pretty decent. Alright, well now that the restoration is complete, it's finally time to answer the question that was in the title. Was restoring a 15-year-old MacBook actually worth it? Now here's the thing, I'm not going to put it through an enormous list of actual tasks I do throughout the day on a regular MacBook like my M1 MacBook. Because realistically, no one is buying a 15-year-old laptop for modern day workloads, let's be for real here. But instead, I want to see if these upgrades have made a difference to basic everyday tasks that the normal user would do. Because you gotta remember, not everybody's use cases are the same. Some people can actually get by with a 15-year-old laptop. So let's go ahead and boot into macOS High Sierra and check this thing out. The first improvement was immediately noticeable. With the original mechanical hard drive replaced by an SSD, the MacBook now boots into macOS significantly faster, and it no longer spends ages loading everything after reaching the desktop. Applications also opened up surprisingly quick. Obviously the processor itself hasn't become any more faster, but removing the slow hard drive makes the entire machine feel much more responsive. And with the upgraded RAM installed, I could keep several applications and browser tabs open without the system immediately struggling. Basic web browsing also worked well enough. and video playback was also completely usable. More demanding modern websites could still slow it down, but for simple browsing, or writing documents or playing local media, it handled itself better than I expected. And of course, I had to test the replacement SuperDrive out. The disk was accepted immediately and appeared inside macOS and played without any problems, meaning every major component in the laptop was now basically working again. After running it for a while, the cooling system also remained relatively quiet. The new thermal paste doesn't transform its performance, but it should help keep temperatures under control and prevent the fans from working harder than necessary. So no, this 15-year-old MacBook Pro isn't going to replace a modern laptop. But after an SSD, more RAM, a upgraded SuperDrive, it has gone from a slow and neglected machine into something that actually does work again. And definitely is something somewhat enjoyable to use. Which leads me to conclude, if you find any of these older MacBooks, ones with at least the Intel Core i processors, instead of the slower Core 2 Duo processors, it definitely is worth picking up, anywhere between 20 to 30 bucks. You can find these for very cheap, you can restore them for pretty cheap as well, and maybe sell these or turn these into enjoyable laptops to use. So if you find these older MacBooks, definitely consider picking them up. So if you liked what you saw, then definitely consider liking the video and subscribing. Feel free to join the Discord server too, I'll leave that in the description below. And so, I'll see you guys in my next video.